Mm, coffee. Nothing like it first thing in the morning. Whew. You know, I always say there's perception and then there's reality. We have perceptions of what we believe are true and are factual. Then there's actually the real deal of what it actually is. Because, see, here's the thing. If you hear something enough times, you begin to believe it. You know, people hear all kinds of stuff on the internet over and over and over again and say, well, it must be true. You know, we were always told that Tony Romo was a choker, even though he ended up having more comeback victories than anybody else during his period. But you heard it so many times that the Cowboys always fail in December, Tony Romo's a choker. But when you actually got to it, there was perception versus reality. And there's a lot of that goes on with the Dallas Cowboys because, well, let's face it, the Cowboys are more polarizing than any other team in the NFL. There's nobody that gets covered like the Cowboys because we've got the biggest fan base. And I know you guys say we're just bandwagon fans, but I tell you what, all the fans that I meet across the country here in the Washington, D.C. area, they're diehard ones. You know, I've been one since I was basically born into it in 1965. I'm the same age as the Super Bowl. It's a great way for me never to forget how old I am. 53, that's what Super Bowl we're on. So we always hear about the Dallas Cowboys from Stephen A. Smith, who's always talking about the Dallas Cowboys and their failures, their ineptitude, how much they stink. What have they done over the last 25 years? Nothing. And you think that the Dallas Cowboys are the only team that's ever failed. Even though teams like Detroit, Arizona, Carolina, Cleveland, you know, never won a Super Bowl. There's other ones out there, but you get my point being is, okay, yes, we haven't done much since 95. I understand that, but we've at least been to 8 and we've at least tasted victory 5 times. And then my day got brightened up this morning.
KC has stumbled in postseason past. They haven't won a home playoff game in 25 years. I wasn't even born yet. So,
This was on her third job in Buffalo.
Bar was Rochester. What are you expecting in this one?
Well, I expect the Chiefs to come out flat. You know, usually when you have that off week, sometimes you come off flat. Mm-hmm. You know, Andy Reid's been notoriously good about coming off of a bye and being able to have success. He's a great game planner, but we're going to see about matchups. Last week we saw an interesting matchup where, you know, Gus Bradley made the adjustment. We're going to see who's going to make the best adjustments and who's going to be able to adjust off of who. I expect the Colts to come off because they're in the rhythm. They had a good game plan last week. They're going to come out, and it's going to be a period early in the first quarter where we're going to see where this game's going to go. When you look at how the games went last week, it was the teams that got on the board first, start feeling good about themselves first, was able to keep that momentum while the other team tried to make those adjustments. In the playoffs, CC knows, you know, you look up and it's almost the third quarter, you start to panic. Will Mahomes start to panic if he goes behind early? Because all the pressure's on Mahomes, because he's going to be the MVP, because they're the favorite seed. Yeah. So they're going to have to go out and he's going to have to perform. And we're going to see how he adjusts to that. I know that, you know, Andrew Luck has the chill factor. He doesn't, nothing gets to him. He's fine.
Okay, that's enough of that. But here's what's interesting, because I always say that when we looked at Dak Prescott and we looked at the passes that Dak Prescott missed, or him taking sacks and stuff, you know, we automatically think that those things don't happen with other teams, that this team is the only one that happens to. But let's think about Andy Reid. Andy Reid's been to one Super Bowl where Don McNabb basically tossed his cookies and choked. You had a T.O. who played incredibly, literally on a broken ankle it was, in there, but yet they still failed. The one thing you have to look at with Kansas City is Kansas City always starts out like 8-0 and 10-0 and stuff, and then kind of goes downhill going to the playoffs. Yet, we never think about Kansas City as the accident waiting to happen. We never look at the Kansas Cities as a team that chokes late in the season. But the reality is, things that happen in Dallas that we get condemned for, like we're the only ones, happen throughout the NFL. So understand, everything that we see is not always fair and balanced to reality. Day and a half. That's all it is. We are literally 36 hours from kickoff. You have your game face on? I'm Mark Holmes, and I'll see you soon.